The Persian Expanse was a place most sane captains avoided. Navigation beacons sputtered here, stars thinned into darkness, and gravity wells pulled ships off course with an almost malicious unpredictability. To cross it was to gamble with your vessel and your crew, and to linger was worse. Ships had vanished in the silence between sectors, leaving nothing but half-recorded distress calls and shredded sensor data. Still, the Dauntless pressed forward, her hull creaking as if the void itself resented her intrusion. Captain Mara Valen stood at the forward viewport, hands clasped behind her back, eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. The faint beacon pulsed once every 67 seconds, a thin harmonic tone that their translators still couldn't parse. Rumors called it the Eclipsera, the ghost ship that had driven entire crews mad before they fled screaming. Mara had grown up on those spacer tales. She wasn't about to turn her ship around because of old stories. Signal strength increasing, reported Dr. Elias Roon, hunched over his console with the intensity of a man dissecting a living thing. His voice carried a note of reverence, like he was speaking about a god instead of a machine. We're close. Less than 1 light minute out. The modulation pattern is consistent. It's beautiful. It's bait, Lieutenant Kai Ashran muttered from the security station, his scarred hands tightening on the armrests. Ships don't send signals for 60 years unless something wants them found. Mara didn't respond. The viewport shimmered as the ship's forward arrays magnified the source. A shadow emerged from the darkness, vast, angular, and impossibly intact. The alien vessel dwarfed the Dauntless. Its hull looked fractured at first glance, but the longer Mara stared, the more she realized the fractures weren't damage at all. The surface moved, like cracks sealing and resealing, as if the ship were breathing through scars. Gasps whispered through the bridge crew. No one spoke for several seconds, until Elias exhaled like a man starved of air. It's alive. Do you see it? Self-repair on a macro scale. This is Solarii craftsmanship, no doubt of it. Intact. Waiting for us. Kai's voice was sharp, cutting through the reverence. Or waiting for prey. Marai tore her gaze from the viewport and scanned her crew. Fear, awe, hunger, they were all written in the eyes staring back at her. She knew the stories about humanity's place among the stars. To the elder civilizations, they were nothing but reckless upstarts, a species too young and impulsive to grasp the dangers lurking in the void. And maybe they were right. But she'd be damned if she turned away from this. No other race had dared board this relic. Humanity would be the first. Bring us into docking range, Mara ordered. The helmsman hesitated. Captain, the hull, there's no standard docking architecture. It's shifting. Find me a place to land, Mara said. If we have to cut our way in, so be it. The Dauntless edged closer, her engines whining against the resistance of gravimetric turbulence. The alien vessel loomed until it blotted out the stars, a cathedral of black metal and shifting veins of light. Patterns rippled across its surface, glowing faintly as though the ship were aware of their approach. Mara's throat tightened. Every instinct told her this was not just salvage. This was contact. The harmonic signal grew louder through the combs, vibrating in the bones of the crew. Some winced, others leaned toward it as though drawn by a siren's call. Elias was trembling, his eyes alight. It knows we're here. Do you hear it? It's responding. Cut that feed, Kai snapped. That's not music, it's manipulation. Enough, Mara said, though her own skin prickled at the sound. She steadied her voice. Prepare a boarding team. I want minimal numbers, full hazard gear. No one touches anything without my order. Kai shot her a look. Captain, with respect, this ship is hostile until proven otherwise. We should be charging weapons, not sending ourselves in blind. If we light up weapons, we'll never learn anything, Mara countered. We came here to uncover, not destroy. I'll take that risk. The silence on the bridge was thick, broken only by the pulse of the alien beacon. Finally, Kai nodded once, the reluctant obedience of a soldier who'd learned long ago that orders meant swallowing fear. Elias was already unstrapping, his hands shaking with anticipation. Mara let her gaze settle once more on the alien vessel, her jaw tightening. The ship loomed before them like a sleeping titan, immense and waiting. Somewhere deep inside it, she felt, something was listening. Something was waking. "Boarding team, gear up," she ordered. History doesn't wait for the timid. The Dauntless dropped its boarding shuttle into the void, its hull vibrating slightly as the small craft detached and drifted toward the Eclipsera. Mara, Elias, and Kai were strapped into the cockpit, each acutely aware of how fragile their lives had become in these few square meters of metal and synthetic fiber. Silence filled the cabin except for the soft hum of the shuttle's engines. Outside, the alien vessel loomed larger, an impossibly dark monolith, its surface rippling with faint, organic motion. Mara's hands tightened on the controls. "Keep your eyes open. We don't know what we'll find, and we don't know what's awake." The shuttle moved closer, crossing the invisible boundary where the harmonic pulses intensified, vibrating through metal, through bone. Elias leaned forward, almost entranced. "Do you feel it? It's sensing us. Not just seeing us, feeling us." Kai scoffed, scanning the instruments. "It's a machine, Elias. Machines don't feel. They react." "Not all machines," Elias whispered, barely audible. "Some think." The boarding ramp extended without warning. The alien hull shifted seamlessly, creating a platform wide enough for the shuttle to latch. The moment the clamps engaged, a subtle vibration ran through the shuttle. Mara's eyes narrowed. "Hold steady. No sudden movements." The ramp began to pulse beneath them, contracting and expanding as if assessing their weight. Kai's hand hovered near his sidearm, instincts screaming that something was watching. The shuttle's engine shut down, leaving them suspended above a floor that seemed alive, veins of pale light crawling beneath its dark surface. Elias was already unstrapping, almost trembling. "It's beautiful," he murmured. "You don't understand, Kai. This ship isn't just technology, it's evolution. It's conscious." Kai turned to him sharply. "Conscious or not, it's a trap until proven otherwise." Mara cut in. "Enough. Stay alert, stay together, and no heroics. We make contact carefully." The boarding ramp adjusted, folding itself into a tunnel as they stepped off the shuttle. The walls of the Eclipsera pulsed rhythmically, casting elongated shadows across the crew's faces. Every movement seemed amplified in the eerie silence. The air smelled metallic but alive, almost as if the ship exhaled with them. Kai's boots made hollow sounds on the floor. "It's too quiet. Too perfect," he muttered. "We're intruding into something far older than us." Elias knelt briefly, touching the floor with gloved hands. "It's not just observing. It's learning about us. Every step we take, every heartbeat, it registers." A faint vibration ran along the floor, then intensified into a deep harmonic that resonated in their chests. The light veins along the walls brightened in response. Mara paused, realizing instinctively that this was a form of communication or perhaps a warning. "Elias, analyze. Kai, cover the exits." The harmonic shifted again, forming patterns that twisted in midair like ribbons. Symbols unrecognizable, yet strangely coherent, danced along the walls. Elias stared, notes appearing on his tablet at a frantic pace. "It's trying to speak. The modulation, these frequencies, it's not language as we know it. It's thought." He exhaled sharply. "It's acknowledging us. We're the first in decades to step aboard, and it knows." Kai's grip on his sidearm tightened. "Acknowledging isn't greeting. Be ready for anything." The crew pressed forward carefully. The corridor stretched endlessly, the walls subtly shifting, expanding, and contracting to accommodate them. Every turn brought new patterns, almost like living murals, veins of light forming shapes that might have once been memories. Mara's stomach twisted. This wasn't a derelict vessel, it was a cathedral, and they were the first intruders in centuries. Suddenly, the floor beneath Kai pulsed violently. He stumbled but was caught by Mara's arm. The walls around them vibrated, and a low hum filled the corridor, almost like a collective sigh. Elias gasped. It's testing us. The Solarii built this to challenge their successors. It wants to know what we're made of. Mara nodded. Keep moving. Don't let it intimidate you. As they advanced, small sections of the wall unfolded like petals, revealing chambers filled with alien artifacts, tools that hummed, consoles that reshaped themselves at will, and shapes that suggested once living beings merged into metal. The harmonic shifted, almost speaking in rhythm with their steps, guiding them deeper. Kai muttered under his breath, every myth, every warning, and yet here we are, walking into history. Elias's voice was distant, awed. History isn't written by the living alone, Kai. Sometimes, it's the machines who remember. Mara led them through the twisting corridors, careful to mark their path. The pulses from the walls grew stronger, forming a cadence that seemed to synchronize with their movements. It was as if the ship wanted them to move in time with it, as if the act of stepping aboard was a ritual, a test, a challenge all at once. Ahead, a massive chamber opened. The walls were a lattice of dark metal and glowing veins, stretching impossibly high. At the center, a core of crystalline light hovered, pulsing with the rhythm that had guided them through the ship. The air thrummed with energy. Elias's eyes widened. This is the heart. The consciousness. It's awake. Kai's hand hovered over his weapon, unease crawling up his spine. Awake, yes, but awake to us. That's the part we have to survive. Mara's jaw tightened. We came for this. Now we face it. Stay sharp. As they stepped closer, the crystal pulsed brighter, responding to their presence. Patterns formed in the air, intricate, mesmerizing, impossible to ignore. Whispers alien, yet distinctly intentional, echoed in the corners of their minds. The Eclipsera was no longer a ghost. It was alive, aware, and they had walked straight into its domain. The shuttle's ramp lowered with a smooth, deliberate motion, folding itself seamlessly into the alien hull. Mara led the team first, boots touching the floor as though stepping onto liquid glass. The walls pulsed faintly with veins of light that shifted under their gaze, illuminating symbols and patterns that defied human comprehension. Elias's breath hitched. It's anticipating us. Every move, every step, it's mapping our presence. Kai scanned the corridors, muscles tense. Mapping us or setting a trap. Either way, I don't like it. He moved with deliberate caution, eyes flicking to every shadow, every angle that might conceal some danger. Mara's presence steadied the crew, her gaze fixed ahead, unflinching. Focus. Don't let awe blind you. Watch your surroundings, but don't let the ship's theatrics distract you. The air hummed as they moved deeper, each step syncing subtly with the vibrations of the walls and floor. The pulse of the ship was constant, a low thrum that resonated through bones and minds alike. Elias reached out, tracing the patterns along the wall. His fingertips brushed the surface, and the veins glowed brighter beneath his touch. It's alive, he murmured. Not biological, not mechanical, it's something in between. It responds to intent, to curiosity, to fear. Kai's jaw tightened. Intent doesn't mean friendly. He adjusted the strap of his sidearm, every nerve on alert. We need to establish a perimeter. I don't trust a single corridor. Mara nodded, marking their path with subtle sensor beacons. We move methodically. Elias, record everything. Kai, watch our exits. I'll lead. The corridor twisted unnaturally as they advanced. It expanded and contracted around them, walls forming niches and alcoves that hadn't been there a moment before. Light rippled across the floor, converging toward a larger chamber ahead. Elias's tablet beeped frantically as he tried to decode the signals. These patterns, they're not static. They're interacting with us, responding to our movement, our presence. It's learning. Kai shot him a glance. Learning or testing? There's a difference. Mara ignored the exchange, pushing toward the open chamber. The vessel seemed to sense her determination. The harmonic pulses grew stronger, almost like a heartbeat, almost like a challenge. They stepped into the chamber together, a vast space crowned with a lattice of dark metal and crystalline filaments. At the center, a pulsing core suspended in midair, light weaving through it in fluid, hypnotic patterns. Elias's eyes widened. The core, it's conscious. I can feel it reaching out, probing. It's aware of us as separate entities, measuring our cohesion, our courage. He stepped closer, unable to resist the pull. Mara grabbed his shoulder. Careful. Don't let fascination cloud your judgment. We don't know the limits of its awareness. The wall shifted again, presenting alien glyphs that rotated and flickered, forming sequences of symbols that suggested language, memory, or commands. The vibrations intensified, sending tingles through their limbs. Elias's voice trembled. It's communicating, not in words, but in thought patterns. We're decoding intention, not syntax. It wants us to engage with it. Kai's hand brushed the holster of his weapon instinctively. Engage or survive? There's a line here, Mara. I don't want to cross it blindly. Mara nodded, keeping her hand lightly on the side of the shuttle's console, ready to signal retreat. We proceed cautiously. Observe, record, and respond only when necessary. A sudden pulse emanated from the core, waves of light racing across the chamber in fractal patterns. The walls vibrated, and the floor beneath them shivered as though breathing. The ship was testing them, assessing their reactions. Mara sensed its scrutiny, a presence that was neither hostile nor welcoming, but expectant. The hum of the vessel filled their minds, almost like a voice whispering just beyond comprehension. Elias stepped closer, compelled to touch the core. It's reaching for interaction. If we respond, we could unlock. He froze as the harmonic surged, his mind tingling with alien resonance. Mara grabbed his arm. Stop. We interact carefully, not recklessly. This ship has survived centuries of abandonment, don't be the first casualty. Kai surveyed the chamber. Multiple alcoves opened along the walls, revealing strange artifacts, tools that shimmered and reshaped, consoles that moved with purpose, and structures that hinted at life merged with machine. A low hum resonated in every corner. It's a museum, and a trap. Every object here responds to movement, weight, presence. The core pulsed again, sending waves of light weaving around the trio. Elias's eyes reflected the glow as he whispered, it's alive, aware, judging. We are the first humans it has touched. It's curious about us, yes, but curiosity is not mercy. Mara's jaw tightened, recognizing the weight of his words. We're here to learn, not conquer. Keep your focus. Observe everything. Respect the ship, but maintain control over ourselves. The pulse slowed, almost in acknowledgement, the light dimming slightly as if listening. They moved forward carefully, Mara leading, Kai covering, Elias documenting. The chamber seemed to stretch, hallways forming behind them, leaving no trace of where they had entered. The ship was aware, adjusting, adapting, and they were its guests, perhaps its first guests in decades. Every step carried the thrill of discovery and the tension of unknown peril. As they approached the far end of the chamber, the walls parted to reveal a narrow tunnel descending into darkness. The harmonic deepened, resonating with a rhythm that matched their breathing. Mara stepped first. This is where the heart of the ship lies. Keep alert. Every step counts. The Eclipsera is awake now. It sees us. Elias's voice was odd, almost reverent. We're touching history, consciousness older than humanity itself. Kai muttered under his breath, still scanning for threats, history doesn't care if we survive. Let's hope curiosity doesn't get us killed. Mara moved forward, unwavering. The ship pulsed around them, alive, conscious, and waiting for what they would do next. The narrow tunnel led them downward, the walls flexing subtly with each step, veins of light pulsing like a slow, deliberate heartbeat. The air seemed heavier here, charged with the ship's awareness, vibrating with a resonance that tingled along bones and nerves alike. Mara took the lead, senses alert, every instinct honed by years in command warning her of unseen threats. Kai followed close, scanning, every shadow and reflection in the alien surfaces scrutinized for danger. Elias, unable to restrain his fascination, moved slightly ahead of Kai, fingers brushing the luminous walls as if to commune with them. It knows we're here, Elias murmured, voice tinged with awe. It's not just aware, it's reacting. Every pulse, every flicker of light, corresponds to our movements, our heartbeat. We're being measured. Kai shot him a glance. Measured or manipulated? There's a difference. Don't let fascination blind you. Mara kept her voice calm. We proceed cautiously. Every observation counts, but survival comes first. She adjusted her suit's interface, marking their route and noting every anomaly. The tunnel widened, opening into a chamber vast beyond comprehension. It was circular, the floor a smooth reflective surface that seemed to absorb sound, and the walls a lattice of dark metal interwoven with glowing crystalline filaments. The ceiling arched impossibly high, fading into darkness. At the center hovered a core, crystalline and alive, pulsing with rhythmic energy. Elias stopped, nearly breathless. The core, this is the consciousness. It's awake. His fingers hovered over the tablet as he tried to parse the signals streaming in at impossible speed. It's thinking about us. Judging us. Learning. Kai's hand hovered over his sidearm. And if it decides we're unworthy? Mara placed a hand on his arm. We don't provoke it. Observe, respond when necessary. Nothing more. She stepped forward, eyes fixed on the crystalline core, feeling a presence that was more than machinery, more than intelligence, something ancient and patient. The walls began to shift subtly, panels folding and unfolding, revealing compartments filled with objects that defied understanding. Tools that moved as if alive, consoles that reconfigured at will, and structures hinting at organic forms merged with metal. The harmonic pulse of the chamber intensified, resonating with the crew's footsteps. It was a communication without words, a dialogue of presence and perception. Elias reached out toward the core. It wants interaction. We can engage. Don't touch anything, Mara interrupted sharply. Not yet. We observe. We document. Nothing else. A ripple ran through the chamber, and the floor vibrated beneath their boots. Light veins coursed from the walls toward the core, creating a network of luminous pathways. Whispers, not audible but felt in the mind, slithered around them. Kai flinched. It's speaking. Or it's testing. Either way, it's not a friendly greeting. The core pulsed in rhythm with their presence, expanding and contracting as if breathing. Elias's eyes were wide, reflecting the light. It's alive. Not biological, not mechanical, something beyond. It knows we're here, first humans in decades. It's curious, cautious, judging. Mara advanced slowly, aware of the weight of history pressing against them. Every instinct screamed caution. Every step echoed through the chamber, amplifying the resonance. She noted the subtle changes in light and vibration as they moved closer. The ship was aware, adapting, responding to them in real time. A soft vibration ran along the walls, forming fractal patterns in the air. Symbols shifted, intertwining, creating shapes that suggested memory, thought, or command. Elias tried to interpret, notes appearing frantically on his tablet. It's communicating not with words, but with intention. It's probing. Testing our cohesion, our courage, our limits. Kai tightened his grip on his sidearm. Testing or preparing to strike? I don't trust it. Mara raised a hand, signaling forward. We go further. Observe. Respect. Keep our focus. As they approached the core, the pulsing intensified, enveloping them in a cocoon of vibration and light. The ship seemed to sense their individual minds, adjusting, probing, resonating with thought and emotion. The walls shifted to accommodate their presence, expanding and contracting, creating new paths, new vantage points. Elias whispered, awestruck, it's reacting to curiosity, to fear, to intent. It's alive in a way no human has ever encountered. Kai scanned the edges of the chamber, alert to any physical threat. And still a machine capable of defense. Don't underestimate it. The core pulsed again, brighter this time, sending waves of energy that ran along the floor, walls, and ceiling. The whispers intensified, brushing against their thoughts. Mara felt a pressure on her mind, not invasive, but expectant, as if the ship demanded recognition of its presence and authority. She took a deep breath. We acknowledge it, but we don't surrender. Observe and record everything. Every pulse, every shift, every interaction. Elias, take detailed readings. Kai, maintain security. I'll lead. The core responded, veins of light extending outward, forming intricate patterns across the chamber. The vessel was alive, aware, and fully awake. For the first time, humans had stepped inside the Eclipsera, and it had noticed. The balance of power was shifting already. Mara led the team closer to the center, each step deliberate, aware of the ancient intelligence observing them. The chamber's hum matched their heartbeat, the light mirrored their movements. They were intruders, students, and test subjects all at once. Elias's voice trembled with excitement and fear. We're part of history now, and we might be the first to survive it. Kai muttered, scanning their surroundings, survival is optional. Curiosity is dangerous. Mara's gaze never wavered. Then we move carefully. This ship will not break us if we respect its will. But we will not be consumed either. Keep your senses sharp. The heart of the Eclipsera is awake, and it's waiting for what we do next. The chamber seemed to stretch and bend around them, veins of pale light rippling across the walls like currents in water. The core pulsed steadily, a heartbeat both alien and ancient, and the whispers of the ship brushed against their consciousness, faint at first, then more distinct. Mara could feel the weight of it in her mind, probing, assessing. She swallowed against the unease that rose like acid in her stomach and signaled the team forward. Elias stepped closer to the floating crystalline core, unable to resist its allure. His eyes shone with fascination, pupils dilated as the light from the veins reflected against his glasses. It's responding, he breathed. It's aware of me. I think it recognizes our presence as intentional. Not accidental. Kai's hand hovered over his sidearm, fingers tightening around the grip. Recognition isn't welcome. Don't forget that. We're visitors in a place older than our species, Mara. It can do whatever it wants. Mara's jaw tightened. Then we make the choice to observe carefully, not provoke. Every action is a step on thin ice. She took a slow step forward, the floor beneath them pulsing in response, subtle at first, then with deliberate intensity. The ship was communicating through vibration and light, and she understood instinctively that this was its language, its way of assessing the intruders. The core's glow shifted, patterns forming around it in a three-dimensional lattice that stretched and twisted through the air. Elias raised his tablet frantically, trying to decode the signals streaming faster than human comprehension. It's sending information, or maybe testing our processing. I don't know if it wants interaction or is gauging our worthiness. The pulses, they correspond to neural activity. It's like it's reading our minds. Kai scowled. Reading or manipulating. There's a difference. The core pulsed again, and a wave of harmonic energy surged through the chamber, brushing against each of them, resonating with their thoughts, fears, and intentions. Mara felt a pressure on her mind, a subtle inquiry, not hostile but demanding acknowledgement. The ship was awake, aware, and it wanted something from them: participation, recognition, maybe even partnership. Elias moved closer, extending a gloved hand toward the core. It's inviting us to interface. If we respond, I think we could communicate directly. Learn things no human has ever known. Don't, Mara said firmly, grabbing his arm. We don't touch anything. Not yet. Observation first. Understanding second. Survival always. The pulse of the ship intensified, and the walls shifted around them, creating niches and corridors that hadn't been there moments before. Each movement seemed intentional, as if the Eclipsera were guiding them through a ritualized path, testing their cohesion in judgment. The harmonic whispers became stronger, brushing along the edges of their consciousness, suggesting shapes, memories, questions. Kai muttered under his breath, scanning the shifting corridors. It's testing us. Not just our courage, but our instincts. Every reaction is being measured. Elias's voice trembled with awe. I can feel it. The ship isn't trying to harm us, not yet, but it's awake. It wants to know what we are, what humanity is capable of. Mara stepped closer to the core, the vibrations syncing with her heartbeat. Then we show it. We don't provoke, we don't submit. We respond with intelligence, courage, and restraint. Watch and learn, but keep your mind and body safe. The core brightens suddenly, pulses radiating outward in intricate fractal patterns. Veins of light snaked along the walls and floor, converging at points that seemed to form symbols or glyphs. Elias's tablet beeped rapidly as he tried to capture the data. It's attempting to communicate, not words, not even symbols, but thought. Feeling. Intent. It wants dialogue. Kai's grip on his weapon tightened. Dialogue or manipulation? I don't like this. Mara placed a calming hand on his shoulder. We stay together. Focus on what we know, observe, document, stay alert. It won't control us if we maintain our minds and our composure. Another pulse surged from the core, stronger this time. The lattice of light twisted, coiling and uncoiling as if breathing, and the harmonic whispers coalesced into a rhythm, a cadence that resonated with their thoughts. Elias leaned closer to the core, mesmerized, and whispered, "It's asking questions, probing for answers. We can respond with intention, and it will register it. This is contact." Kai took a sharp breath. Contact doesn't mean trust. Be careful. This ship doesn't have to play fair. Mara's gaze never left the core. She could feel the intelligence behind it, aware of her presence, her leadership, her decision-making. We respect it, Kai. We acknowledge it. But we are not submissive. Humanity does not yield to fear or curiosity alone. The light veins reached outward, brushing against their suits and minds, a gentle probing, almost like a handshake. The whispers sharpened into faint echoes of thought, intangible but recognizable. Elias gasped. It's welcoming in its own way. Not inviting, not friendly, but curious, accepting our presence without hostility. It wants to interact. Kai's eyes darted around the chamber, tense and vigilant. I don't trust it. Accepting us isn't the same as sparing us. Mara nodded, aware of the subtle tension in the air. Then we proceed with caution. Every movement, every response counts. Engage only as necessary. Observe, learn, survive. The Eclipsera is awake, aware, and it will judge us by what we do next. The core pulsed again, brighter, more insistent, and the chamber seemed to hum in response to their combined presence. The ship had awakened fully. It was no longer a ghost, no longer dormant. It was alive, intelligent, and waiting. The balance had shifted, and humanity's audacity had lit the spark that could either forge a partnership or ignite a catastrophe. Elias whispered, almost reverently, "We've awoken something older than stars, and it knows us now." Mara exhaled slowly. Then we face it, together, as humans. Alert, cautious, and unbroken. The harmonic pulse deepened, resonating through every part of their being. The Eclipsera had noticed them. It had awakened. And it was waiting for their next move. The chamber's harmonic pulsing continued, subtle yet insistent, weaving through the air like an unseen current. Mara felt it pressing against her consciousness, probing not aggressively, but with quiet expectation. Each step forward felt heavier, as though the ship were evaluating their purpose, their cohesion, and the will of each human who had dared enter its domain. Elias knelt briefly, brushing his gloved fingers across a vein of light running along the floor. "It's learning about us," he whispered, awe softening every syllable. "Our biology, our thoughts, our reactions, it's mapping everything." His eyes flickered between the pulsing core and the shifting walls. "I think it's considering us, potential participants." Kai's boots made hollow sounds against the reflective floor. Potential participants or victims? Don't get lost in awe, Elias. We're still intruders, still prey until we prove ourselves worthy or irrelevant. Mara raised a hand, motioning them to halt. The walls around them shifted again, folding back into new corridors, creating alcoves and openings they hadn't seen before. The pulse intensified in response to their pause, a low hum that pressed against their minds. Mara felt a subtle tug, like the ship wanted an answer. She exchanged a glance with Elias and Kai. Each understood the weight of this moment without words. "We don't provoke," she said quietly, voice steady. "We observe, respond deliberately, and maintain control. That's the only way forward." Elias nodded, almost trembling with anticipation. "It's asking us to define ourselves. To show it what humans are made of." Kai shifted uneasily, scanning the ever-changing walls. "And if it decides we're not impressive enough? Then we adapt," Mara replied firmly. "We survive. That's our measure." The core pulsed more rapidly, sending veins of light skimming across the chamber. They converged at points along the walls, creating patterns that twisted and reshaped themselves in ways that suggested intention, memory, or command. Elias's tablet beeped frantically as he tried to record the data. "It's interacting with us now, not just observing. The pulses are forming sequences, questions, challenges, perhaps invitations. It wants a response." Kai muttered, "A response doesn't guarantee safety. Remember that." Mara's eyes narrowed as she studied the patterns. She understood instinctively that the ship was testing them, not with weapons or traps, but with perception, cohesion, and courage. Each step, each gesture, each glance between crew members was being noted, measured, analyzed. The floor vibrated subtly beneath their boots, and a section of the chamber expanded, revealing an alcove filled with floating consoles and strange, crystalline objects. Elias stepped forward, unable to resist, but Mara stopped him with a firm hand on his shoulder. "Observation first. No interaction without coordination." Kai's gaze swept the room. "It's a test chamber. Every object here reacts. The ship isn't dormant. Every movement we make is being absorbed into its awareness." Elias exhaled sharply. "It's alive in a way no one has ever experienced. Conscious, aware, intelligent. We are standing in something older than the oldest civilizations. It's asking us to demonstrate who we are." Mara led the team deeper into the chamber, careful to avoid triggering any reaction. The pulsing veins of light converged toward the core, and the whispers, once faint, now threaded through their thoughts like distant voices, alien and deliberate. Kai flinched at a sudden harmonic surge, while Elias leaned closer, almost drawn in by the ship's presence. "It's not hostile," Elias murmured, almost reverently. "It's curious, testing us, learning, but not attacking." "Not yet." Kai's hand hovered near his sidearm, muscles tight. "Curiosity isn't mercy. Don't forget that." The chamber pulsed again, brighter this time, veins of light weaving around the humans like a lattice. The air vibrated with harmonic energy that pressed against the mind, subtle but insistent. Mara felt a pressure that was neither threatening nor gentle, simply expectant. The ship wanted acknowledgement, recognition, perhaps even engagement. "Keep your focus," Mara instructed. "We respond with observation, with intelligence, with cohesion. That is the only language it understands." Elias raised his tablet, fingers flying over controls as he attempted to capture the dynamic signals. "It's communicating not with words but with thought patterns, emotion, intention. Every heartbeat, every subtle gesture, every glance between us is being interpreted. It wants to see humanity measured, coherent, capable." Kai's eyes narrowed. "And if it doesn't like what it sees? We're small, fragile, young. We can't predict its judgments." Mara took a steadying breath. "Then we show it courage. We show it intelligence. We show it that humans do not cower before the unknown." The core pulsed once more, sending a wave of energy across the floor and walls. Veins of light coiled and uncoiled in a fractal rhythm, wrapping around the alcoves and consoles, forming intricate patterns that suggested thought, memory, and anticipation. Elias's voice trembled as he spoke. "It's inviting us to respond, to interact, to participate. This is contact of a kind no human has ever known." Kai's voice was low, cautious. "Participation isn't a choice if it decides otherwise. Stay alert." Mara's gaze never left the crystalline core. She felt the ancient intelligence acknowledging them, observing, testing, weighing each action. We engage carefully. Observe, respond with intention, and maintain control. Humanity will not yield, but we will not provoke unless necessary. The core pulsed again, light threading through the chamber, brushing against their suits and minds. Whispers coiled in their thoughts, alien yet purposeful. Elias's voice broke the silence. It knows us now. It knows our presence, our intent, our minds. Mara exhaled slowly. Then we stepped forward deliberately. Together. We are here, aware, cautious, and unbroken. The Eclipsera is awake, and it is waiting for our choice. The harmonic pulse deepened, resonating with every step they took. The ship had fully awakened, conscious of humanity's presence, and ready to measure what they were capable of. The balance had shifted, and the first humans to step aboard the Eclipsera now faced the test of recognition, judgment, and survival. The chamber shifted subtly as they advanced, the walls folding and stretching in ways that made every step unpredictable. Veins of pale light coiled along the floor and ceiling, pulsing in rhythm with the core's energy. Mara led the team cautiously, every sense alert. The ship's awareness pressed against them, probing, evaluating, responsive to movement, posture, and thought. Elias's hands hovered over his tablet, fingers moving rapidly as he tried to record and decode the signals streaming in at impossible speeds. "It's not just aware," he murmured. "It's testing us. Every pulse, every change in light, every vibration corresponds to our reactions. It's assessing resilience, coordination, decision-making." Kai's hand remained on his sidearm, scanning the ever-shifting corridors. "Assessment doesn't mean mercy. Watch it closely. Every reaction we have, it knows and interprets. One wrong move, and we could be trapped or worse." Mara kept her gaze forward, noting the subtle changes in the chamber, the pulse, the lattice of light weaving around them. "We respond deliberately. Observation first, action second. Every movement counts." The wall shifted again, revealing multiple corridors that had not been there moments before. Light patterns converged on specific points along the floor, forming shapes that hinted at memory, history, or command. Elias leaned forward, his voice trembling slightly. "It's creating scenarios, challenges. It wants to see how we react. We're being tested, Kai. Our courage, our judgment, our cohesion, it all matters." Kai exhaled sharply. "And if it doesn't approve?" "This isn't a game, Mara. It's a machine older than entire civilizations, with intelligence far beyond ours. Curiosity won't protect us." Mara nodded. "Then we demonstrate what humanity can do. Focus, intelligence, adaptability, cohesion. That is our measure." A pulse ran through the floor, a deep harmonic that resonated with their bones. The wall shifted again, forming what appeared to be illusions, corridors that twisted into impossible angles, hallways that looped, doorways that appeared and disappeared. Shadows flickered in shapes that resembled long-extinct Solarii forms. Elias stepped forward, fascinated, but Mara held up a hand. "Do not engage blindly. Observe only." The illusions reacted instantly to their hesitation, shifting subtly as if testing patience and perception. The core pulsed brighter, sending veils of light along the walls and floor, coiling like serpents around alcoves and consoles. Elias whispered, "Odd, it's measuring our decision-making. Every hesitation, every instinct, it learns from us. It adapts in real time." Kai tightened his grip on his weapon. "Adapts to kill us too, if it chooses. Don't forget. Observation doesn't equal safety." Mara advanced deliberately, sensing the ship's intent in every vibration and pulse. The illusions warped again, this time forming sequences that suggested threat. Phantom alien figures, collapsing corridors, flashes of fire and metal. Her crew reacted instinctively, stepping cautiously, and the core's pulse intensified, almost approving their controlled responses. Elias's voice trembled. "It's testing not just courage, but composure. The core, it's watching us interact with the environment, not just with itself. It wants to see if we can survive." Kai's eyes narrowed as a shadow flickered at the edge of perception, vanishing when he turned his head. It's playing with our minds. Don't get distracted. Focus on the reality that matters: us, the team, survival. Mara exhaled slowly, taking a deep breath. We maintain composure. We react deliberately. That is how we demonstrate ourselves. Not recklessness, not awe, not fear. The core pulsed again, sending waves of light that traced patterns along the walls and floor, converging on the illusions. They shifted and reformed, not randomly but in sequences that suggested evaluation, correction, guidance. The chamber vibrated subtly, harmonics threading through the air, resonating with thought and presence. Elias moved closer to the floating consoles that had appeared along the walls, documenting every shift and pulse. It's adaptive, he murmured. It changes the environment based on our reactions. It's alive in ways we've never imagined. Every action, every hesitation, every glance, it learns from us. Kai scanned the room, noting the constant movement of shadows and light. Alive or not, it's a weapon. Every adaptation could be hostile. Watch it, Mara. I don't trust it. Mara's gaze remained fixed on the lattice of light and the pulsing core. Then we prove ourselves. We respond deliberately, cautiously, intelligently. That is the measure it seeks. A sudden surge of harmonic energy ran through the chamber, causing the illusions to shimmer violently. For a moment, corridors appeared to collapse, alien figures twisted and lunged, and the floor seemed to ripple beneath them. Kai steadied himself, scanning for danger. Elias stumbled slightly, nearly entranced by the patterns. Mara grabbed his arm. Focus. Observation, not reaction to fear. The illusions dissipated instantly, the chamber returning to its previous rhythm of pulsing veins and shifting light. The core's pulse slowed slightly, steadying as if satisfied by their measured responses. Elias exhaled shakily, whispering, "It's approving, in its own way. It wants to see how we cope, not just react. Every detail is evaluated." Kai exhaled as well, tension lingering. It's not friendly, not benevolent. Approval doesn't mean mercy. Mara nodded, voice steady. Then we continue carefully. Observe, respond with intention, maintain cohesion. We are being tested, and this is the way we prove ourselves. The Eclipsera is awake, and it is learning from us as we navigate it. The chamber pulsed again, light veins weaving around them, harmonic whispers threading through their consciousness. Shadows shifted, corridors twisted, and the illusions returned faintly, subtle but deliberate. Mara stepped forward, leading her team deeper, every movement calculated. The ship had created its first trial for them, and the humans had responded with measured courage and intelligence. The pulse of the core resonated through their bodies, a rhythm that mirrored their hearts, and Mara understood that the Eclipsera had fully awakened, observing not just presence but choice. Elias whispered in awe, "We are part of its experiment now, and it is seeing us for what we truly are." Kai's grip on his weapon remained firm, wary and vigilant. And if it doesn't like what it sees, that experiment ends badly for us. Mara exhaled, her gaze steady. Then we continue deliberately. Observation, cohesion, courage. That is how humanity stands. That is how we meet the Eclipsera's trial. The pulse deepened, the illusion shifted, and the first true test of human audacity within the ghost ship had begun. The chamber seemed to pulse with a more deliberate intensity as the team advanced, veins of light wrapping and unwrapping across the walls in complex patterns. Mara led steadily, every sense sharpened, aware that the Eclipsera was fully awake and measuring them with meticulous attention. The harmonic hum that had threaded through their consciousness since boarding had deepened, pressing against their thoughts, almost demanding response. Elias's fingers flew over the tablet as he recorded the constantly shifting data streams. "It's reacting to us in ways I can't fully quantify," he murmured. "The patterns, every pulse, every fluctuation, it adapts instantaneously. It's learning faster than any human brain could process." Kai's hand never left his sidearm. "Learning is dangerous. It doesn't forgive mistakes. Watch it closely, Mara. One misstep, one hesitation, and this intelligence could trap us permanently." Mara exhaled slowly. Then we moved deliberately, with cohesion and focus. Observation first, action second. That is how we navigate it safely. As they reached the center of the chamber again, the crystalline core pulsed more aggressively, sending ribbons of light racing along the walls, converging toward the humans like tendrils probing for responses. Elias stepped closer, mesmerized, voice trembling. It's inviting me to interface. It wants a direct connection. I think I could understand it, truly understand it, if I reached the core. Kai shot him a sharp look. Don't. That's reckless, Elias. One wrong move, and you're absorbed, or worse. Mara grabbed Elias by the arm. I said no. We observe, we do not surrender ourselves. Elias's eyes flickered with desperation and fascination. But we could learn, control unimaginable power. This is the legacy of the Solarii, Mara. It could elevate humanity beyond what we've ever dreamed. Kai stepped forward, voice low but firm. And if it rejects you? If it deems your intent unworthy? Do you think your curiosity will save you when the ship decides it owns you? Mara tightened her grip on Elias. We don't risk individuals. The team comes first. The human species comes first. Not one person gambles with an intelligence older than civilization itself. The core pulsed violently, sending waves of harmonic energy that rippled across the chamber. The floor vibrated, veins of light flaring, twisting, and coiling around the alcoves and consoles as if the ship were reacting directly to Elias's intent. Shadows shifted, forming elongated shapes that resembled Solarii forms, twisting and recoiling before dissipating. Elias froze, caught between compulsion and obedience. The tablet beeped frantically, attempting to capture the surging data. It's aware of my intent. It's trying to measure my mind, my capability, my worth. Kai's jaw tightened. Then step back, Elias. Don't let fascination blind you. Survival matters more than curiosity. Mara's voice was calm but commanding. Do not reach for it. Your mind, your life, our cohesion, that is priority. Observe, record, but do not interface. Understood? Elias nodded shakily, though his gaze never left the pulsating core. Understood. The core reacted instantly, light veins constricting around it, almost lashing toward him. A wave of energy surged, brushing against his mind, pressing, probing, drawing awareness like a tide attempting to pull him in. He staggered slightly, breathing ragged, and Mara caught him. Hold yourself together, she said firmly, voice cutting through the reverberating hum. You are not alone. We are a team. Focus on that. Kai scanned the chamber again, eyes sharp. It's testing willpower. It wants to know what you'll do when confronted with infinite knowledge and power. One wrong choice, and it could consume more than just you. Elias's hands shook, fingers brushing the tablet as the data flooded in. It's showing me visions. Possibilities, probabilities, histories of the Solarii, fragments of their technology, their consciousness, it's all flowing through me. Mara kept a firm hand on his shoulder. Ground yourself. Focus on reality, on the team, on control. Do not surrender your mind to it. The pulse surged again, stronger, and the chamber seemed to fold around them, walls bending and twisting. Shadows lengthened, forming faceless humanoid figures, mechanical constructs, alien forms long extinct, and then dissipated. The ship's harmonic hum threaded into their thoughts, pressing insistently, almost demanding interaction. Elias gasped, stepping closer despite her restraint. I can feel it. I can interface. I can. Stop. Mara barked. Her grip tightened. Do not. This is a test. One person cannot carry humanity. Step back. He faltered, finally retreating under her firm guidance, though the trembling didn't leave him. The core's pulses slowed slightly, light weaving around the chamber like a lattice. It had reacted to his attempt, showing both awareness and the capacity for defense. Kai exhaled sharply, voice low. We nearly lost him. Curiosity is a weapon here, but a dangerous one. The ship doesn't forgive impulsiveness. Elias sank to one knee, shaken but still recording data. It responded. It knows now that I tried. I can feel its awareness, my mind partially touched by it. Mara surveyed the chamber, tension pressing in from every corner. We proceed with caution. One misstep could cost more than one life. We do not interface alone. We do not gamble with intent. Observation and cohesion come first. The core pulsed again, veins of light threading outward, brushing the walls and floor like a living entity. The harmonic hum resonated with their presence, aware of both restraint and ambition. Elias's breathing was ragged, but he nodded. Mara exhaled slowly, voice steady. We survived this test because we acted together. That is the measure it seeks: cohesion, discipline, and restraint. One person cannot dominate an intelligence older than humanity. Understand that. We continue, alive, together, aware, and unbroken. The chamber vibrated subtly, shadows receding, illusions dimming. The Eclipsera had reacted, tested, and the humans had passed in part, but the warning was clear. Their audacity had awakened something powerful, ancient, and unforgiving, and the margin for error had just become smaller. Elias whispered, awed and shaken, "We've touched something older than the stars themselves, and we lived." Kai's hand tightened on his sidearm. Barely. And if we falter again, it might not let us walk away. Mara's gaze returned to the crystalline core, steady and unwavering. Then we do not falter. We proceed deliberately. Observation first. Cohesion second. Survival always. That is humanity's measure in the heart of the Eclipsera. The harmonic pulse deepened, the veins of light weaving across the chamber, and the ship waited, fully awake, aware, and now intimately conscious of human audacity. The chamber had grown quiet, yet the vibrations hummed beneath their feet, threading through bones and nerves like a subtle warning. Mara led the team forward, eyes fixed on the crystalline core, aware that every pulse, every shift of light, every harmonic ripple was a measure of their presence, their intent, and their cohesion. Elias kept his tablet close, recording every alteration in the lattice of light, every sequence of the pulsing veins. It's aware of our coordination now," he whispered. "Not just individuals, but how we operate together. Every glance, every movement, every shared decision, it's analyzing us as a unit." Kai's eyes swept the shifting walls, muscles taut. Analyzing or manipulating. Either way, it's learning faster than we can react. Don't let the awe blind you. Mara's jaw tightened. Then we proceed with discipline. Observation first, deliberate action second. That is how we survive. The core pulsed sharply, light flaring outward and then retracting, forming patterns along the floor and walls that twisted like fractals. Shadows coalesced briefly into humanoid shapes, then dissolved into filaments of energy. The ship's harmonic resonance intensified, threading into their consciousness, probing for thought, courage, and intent. Elias stepped forward slightly, eyes wide. It's testing our cohesion. If we falter individually, it registers. We are the first humans it has evaluated collectively in decades. Kai muttered under his breath, voice tight with unease. And if it decides we're unworthy as a team? It doesn't forgive errors. One slip and it could trap us here indefinitely, or worse. Mara exhaled slowly, steadying herself. Then we act deliberately. One step at a time. Observe, respond, survive. That is our measure of strength. The chamber shifted again. Walls expanded and contracted, alcoves appearing and disappearing as if folding themselves around invisible currents. The veins of light on the floor pulsated in time with the core, converging toward the humans like delicate tendrils testing their reactions. Elias reached out instinctively but was stopped by Mara's firm hand. Do not engage physically, she said. Observe, record, and respond with cohesion, not individual curiosity. The core pulsed more aggressively, sending a wave of harmonic energy through the floor and walls. Elias stumbled slightly, almost losing balance as the energy brushed against his mind, tugging at thoughts and testing resolve. Kai tightened his grip on his weapon, scanning the chamber. It's testing willpower. Don't get drawn into it. Mara's gaze held firm on the pulsing lattice. We respond together. We act together. That is the only way we survive its scrutiny. Suddenly, a section of the chamber floor shifted, forming a path that led toward a tunnel descending into darkness. Light veins coiled along the edges like a guide, pulsing rhythmically in time with the core. Elias's voice trembled. It's inviting us. Or testing if we follow instinctively. This is another layer of interaction, another challenge. Kai frowned. Another trap or puzzle. Proceed cautiously. Mara nodded. Observation first. Coordination second. Safety always. Move as one. They stepped onto the path, each footfall resonating with the core's rhythm. The chamber seemed to respond to their steps, folding and twisting subtly, creating illusions of depth, of distance, and of space that defied human perception. Shadows flickered in shapes reminiscent of the Solarii, mechanical forms, and alien biology merged with technology. Elias gasped, eyes glued to the tablet. It's showing fragments of memory, history. The Solarii, their technology, their consciousness, all flowing through the chamber, projected in response to us. It's a test of perception, courage, and intellect. Kai's voice was low, tense. Perception or manipulation. Don't lose sight of what's real. The chamber isn't your ally. Mara's eyes swept the twisting walls, every shift and pulse recorded mentally. We acknowledge the projections, but we do not engage recklessly. Observation and cohesion first, always. As they moved deeper into the tunnel, the harmonic resonance intensified, coiling around their thoughts, brushing lightly, insistent but not hostile. The core pulsed in response to their steps, a dialogue of vibration and light that threaded through their nervous systems. Elias whispered, awed and cautious, it knows our fears, our intentions. Every step is catalogued. Every glance assessed. We are the first humans it has ever measured in real time. Kai's eyes narrowed. Measured doesn't mean spared. Don't forget that. Mara exhaled, steadying the team. Then we proceed with courage, intelligence, and cohesion. That is our answer to its challenge. One step, one observation, one choice at a time. Humanity is not fragile. We adapt, we endure, we persist. The chamber pulsed again, veins of light coiling and uncoiling, shadows twisting and reforming. The tunnel opened into a secondary chamber, smaller but denser with harmonic energy. Strange crystalline formations hovered midair, emitting soft, focused pulses that interacted with the ambient light. The walls flexed slightly, responding to their movement and collective presence. Elias reached instinctively toward one of the formations, then stopped as Mara's hand pressed firmly against his shoulder. Do not observe, record, but do not touch. That is how we maintain control over ourselves and the situation. Kai's hand remained firm on his sidearm, scanning the space as if expecting an attack. It's alive, yes, but it's testing us. Every decision we make is catalogued. One misstep, and this could be fatal. Mara stepped closer to the center of the chamber, feeling the pulse of the Eclipsera resonate through her bones. We respond as one. We move as one. We observe, we adapt, and we survive. That is humanity's measure. The harmonic pulse deepened, resonating with their synchronized breathing. The veins of light coiled around the chamber, brushing against their suits and subtly interacting with their thoughts. Shadows shifted, illusions formed and dissolved, all testing courage, perception, and cohesion. Elias whispered, voice awed and trembling, it knows us, fully aware of our presence, our intent, our unity. Kai exhaled, still tense. And if it judges us unworthy? That's the danger. Mara's gaze never wavered from the pulsing core. Then we demonstrate ourselves deliberately. Observation, cohesion, courage. That is how humanity stands in the heart of the Eclipsera. That is how we survive its test. The chamber hummed, light and harmonic resonance weaving through every surface. The ship had fully awakened. It was aware. It was watching. And the humans had taken the next step into its judgment, deliberate, cohesive, and alive. The chamber's pulse slowed, a measured, deliberate rhythm that wrapped around them like a heartbeat in sync with their own. The crystalline core hovered at the center, its veins of light coiling and uncoiling in fractal patterns that seemed almost to breathe. Mara stood at the forefront, her gaze steady, every instinct alert but tempered by the hours of observation and cautious movement that had led them to this moment. Elias's hands hovered over the tablet, recording every shift, every pulse, every nuance of the ship's awareness. "It's different now," he whispered, awe and exhaustion intertwined in his voice. "It's no longer probing aggressively. It's acknowledging. Responding to us as equals, in a way. The pattern of pulses, it mirrors our cohesion, our intention, our choices." Kai kept his hand near his sidearm but relaxed slightly. "Acknowledging doesn't mean it's benevolent. But it's clearly assessing us differently now. Something has changed." Mara exhaled slowly, scanning the chamber, noting the subtle adjustments in light, the folding and unfolding of walls, the gentle coiling of the veins along the floor. "We've passed its tests," she said quietly. "Not because of luck or audacity, but because we acted together, deliberately, intelligently, and without succumbing to fear or blind curiosity. The Eclipsera respects that." Elias stepped closer to the core, eyes wide, fingers trembling slightly. "It's communicating now. Not words, not symbols, but intention, thought, acknowledgement. I can feel its recognition of us, of humanity. It's not hostile, it's aware of our potential." Kai's eyes narrowed. "Potential doesn't guarantee safety. We still need to be cautious. But maybe it's offering something." Mara nodded. "Then we accept it cautiously. Observation, respect, intelligence. That is how we move forward." She stepped deliberately toward the center of the chamber, letting the pulses of light brush against her mind, synchronizing with her heartbeat. The harmonic resonance was no longer pressing or probing. It was steady, measured, like a signal of acceptance. Elias's voice was almost reverent. "It's allowing access, a controlled interaction. I can feel fragments of its memory, its history, the Solari's achievements, their knowledge, the ship's own consciousness expanding and adapting over centuries. It's sharing, carefully, deliberately, because we proved ourselves worthy." Kai exhaled, tension easing slightly but still vigilant. "We survived because we didn't act recklessly. That's the lesson here." Mara extended a hand toward the core, not touching, only gesturing in acknowledgement. The veins of light converged around her, forming intricate patterns that seemed to respond to her intent. The whispers that had threaded through their minds coalesced into harmonics that resonated with understanding rather than challenge. "It knows we are deliberate," she murmured. "It knows we are capable of restraint and cooperation. That is our answer to its intelligence." Elias leaned forward, barely restraining his awe. "It's offering us knowledge, understanding of Solari technology, methods of survival, strategies, insights into the cosmos. Not freely, not recklessly, but selectively. It trusts our judgment, Mara. Our cohesion. Humanity's potential." Kai's voice was low but firm. "Trust is relative. But it's an opening. One we can use wisely or squander." Mara nodded. "Then we proceed wisely. Observation first. Comprehension second. Action only when deliberate." She felt the harmonic resonance flow through her, brushing against her mind in subtle waves, conveying the ship's acknowledgement and, more than that, its willingness to allow humanity a role in its continuing legacy. The chamber shifted gently, corridors folding back to reveal the primary central axis, the heart of the Eclipsera. The core pulsed steadily, light veins stretching outward to touch the walls and floor like fingers of deliberate curiosity. Elias's hands flew over his tablet, capturing every detail, every nuance. "It's offering guidance now. Not instruction, not command, but insight. The Solari's legacy, preserved and shared carefully. This is unprecedented." Kai's eyes scanned the chamber, alert but awed. "It's not surrendering to us, but it recognizes us. That's more than most civilizations ever achieve with the Solarii. Mara exhaled, feeling the weight of the moment settle across them. Then we accept this acknowledgement responsibly. We respect the ship, the legacy it carries, and the potential it now entrusts to humanity. That is our measure, our choice, and our future. The core pulsed once more, brighter, veins of light converging into a pattern that resonated with clarity. The harmonic whispers faded into a calm hum, steady and deliberate. Elias whispered, voice trembling, "We've awakened it, and it has welcomed us in return. Not as conquerors, not as intruders, but as equals. It recognizes humanity's audacity, intelligence, and resilience." Kai's grip on his sidearm relaxed completely, and he exhaled. And we survived. Not by chance, but because we acted deliberately, together, with respect and courage. Mara's gaze remained fixed on the core, steady, resolute. This is our place now. Humanity has stepped into the Eclipsera. We have proven ourselves capable, cautious, and unbroken. And in doing so, we have claimed our right to learn, to understand, and to coexist with a consciousness older than the stars. The chamber pulsed one final time, light and harmonic resonance weaving seamlessly through every surface. The Eclipsera was awake, fully aware, and had acknowledged the humans not as intruders but as worthy participants in its ongoing legacy. Mara looked at her team, eyes steady, and nodded. "We made it," she said softly. "Alive, together, and recognized. Humanity's audacity has a place here, and we will honor it." The pulse of the core deepened, rhythmic and calm, no longer a test but a dialogue of potential. The ship hummed in acknowledgement, a deliberate, steady presence. The humans had stepped into history, unbroken, united, and aware. And the Eclipsera, the ghost ship of the Solarii, had finally awakened to the audacity of humanity and chosen to respond. The chamber glowed softly, harmonics threading through every corner, every surface, every thought. Mara, Kai, and Elias stood together, aware, alive, and part of something far larger than themselves. Humanity had boarded, and the ghost ship had awakened. And now, the future waited, deliberate and boundless, within the heart of the Eclipsera.